has actually arisen from the activities of some security men in the country. And sometimes when you're driving at night and you're stopped by a police, you decide actually you won't stop because you can't really be sure if the person who is stopping you is really or truly a police officer. And so these are some of the issues we're going to be talking about this morning. We're hoping to be joined by the police PRO, Superintendent Cephas Arthur, to give us some education on this issue. But before that, we cross over to the Ghana Meteorological Service.
Sure. The weather as you have it this morning is going to be generally, as you're experiencing the sun already, 27 to 30 degrees Celsius is what the temperatures will be. And the same later on this afternoon, you're going to be having much more heavier sunny breaks, and temperatures will push down to about 25 degrees Celsius. And this evening, you'll be having some cold winds along some parts of the coastal belt. So that's what's going to be the case till tomorrow morning. That's how the weather will be throughout the day.
All right. Now, after the weather, we called for the motivational message for the morning, and then we continue the program.
In our motivational message for this morning, it just says, forgiveness is the remission of sins. For it is by this that what has been lost and was found is saved from being lost again.
Policing is proactive. So if you are able to saturate the communities such that it deters criminals from operating, then you will be getting close to your goals. But if you sat down and allowed criminals to operate before you chased them, they will not be doing much of security work. And that is what the police is aiming at. We are aiming at preventing, proactive policing, getting our personnel out there in public and deterring criminals from striking, and ensuring that the fear of crime in people is erased completely. If you are able to erase the fear of crime, at least you'll be getting somewhere. In the past, places where people will go and they will fear. Now, because of the presence of police, and some of them have confessed that, oh, now I can go out at any time to this particular point, because previously, if I went there, my bag will be snatched. I will be threatened by a criminal that I should hand over my belongings. But now I can go there because when I get out there, I see a policeman standing there. And that is the yardstick for measuring the performance. But in a nutshell, if I should, in a one word, say what the state of the security services, especially police, that is what I am, and that's what I can speak for more competently. I would say that there has been a drastic improvement in policing.
First of all, Mr. Sunny, when he started, he said we should leave it to the judgment of the public because they have been receiving the service from them. So maybe from the public's perspective, you can give me some overview of what you have observed.
Well, from the public's perspective and from some of the points that he raised, I would say that yes, one thing that I really am comfortable with or happy about is the visibility that the DSP spoke about. The police has become very, very visible. That one I can, openly say. But then the the deterrent, or they are forced to be a deterrent, is where I don't know how effective it is, because the criminals are becoming bolder. I mean, when you hear of a crime, the audacity is just bewildering, and it is still frightening, that despite the visibility of the police, we still have people that are bold enough to commit certain crimes. And then somewhere along the line, there are times that you hear of, the police personnel themselves being involved in certain criminal activities. That beggars a lot. When you have a police service that has criminal elements within its own forces, then it tells you that there is something, missing, because they need to be very well motivated to prevent some of them becoming criminals themselves. So I would want that aspect to be addressed properly by government, because they say that to judge corruption in a nation, you first judge the police.
So you've just hit on the point. We have actually prepared for this topic because of the series of activities or criminal activities that we have dots of some security personnel, involved in such activities. And so we wanted to talk to the service personnel themselves so that they could help us do some analysis of this problem and see how we can get ourselves out of it. So I'll come back to you, DSP. We've had a couple of the police service, because it's in your reach, is doing a lot. But you still have some policemen who get themselves engaged in certain activities that by constitution is so wrong. In fact, if it's an ordinary person doing it, you might find it as a normal criminal activity. But with a policeman being involved, there's like double wrong.
Yeah, you are right. And my friend here hit the nail right on the head. I must say that it is very reprehensible for a police officer who is clothed with the law to ensure law and order.
He is the PRO of the Ghana Armed Forces. Colonel, good morning to you, and thank you for your time.
Good morning, madam.
We have been joined in the studio by the police PRO, DSP Sefasata, and Mr. John Selling as well. And you joining us there on the other side of the line. We want to ask of you, first of all, your duty is to protect the country externally and internally. How does the security situation look like to you?
No, what do you mean, the security to me or my job?
Exactly, in your line of duty, yes.
The security is fine. I don't think there is any untoward situation that is looming. We're doing what we can in collaboration with the police and the other security services to make sure that we continue to have the decorum that we have and this stability. People are going about their duties in safety, and I think that is a plus for all of us.
Right. Now, the main problem we are trying to discuss this morning, or we are discussing this morning, is badness in security agencies. In your area or in your line of duty, I'm talking of the Army, the Air Force, Ghana, and other wings that falls under your work. Have you had any cases where some military personnel have, misconducted themselves, and probably the cases have come to you and you have to exert some powers and punish committers?
Yeah, we have incidents of some of these things. And a couple of weeks or months ago, we came out with what we call naming and shaming, people like that in the armed forces. Yes, we are human beings. We are human, and therefore we have other tendencies that may not necessarily, conform to what pertains. And so yes, we have a few bad knocks, but that is not to generalize the situation, and we are dealing with them. Anybody who misconducts himself, and if you go to our regulations, the Armed Forces Act specifies clearly what should be done. The Armed Forces regulations, which explain the act, clearly specifies what should be done. We have other instructions and procedures that are being issued from time to time to address these concerns. And so anybody who misconducts himself certainly will have, to pay for it. And we don't check that.
Apart from the naming and shaming, which DSP has also mentioned on the platform here, what else are some of the punitive measures you carry out?
Of course, dismissal is the highest, if we can talk about it in terms of conduct. Alright, of course, if there are other criminal issues involved, it's a different thing altogether.
Okay.
But let's say, for example, just an example, where you're supposed to be on duty at a point, and then you leave that duty point and you go somewhere else to do something that is unrelated to the duty that you're on, and you're caught, you'll be punished for it. We try as much as possible to afford anybody who gets into such a situation all the opportunity, for the person to absolve himself or herself. And then finally, we do what has to be done. And so it is important that everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're an officer or a man or a woman, whether you are even a civilian employee, because civilian employees also form part of the armed forces, and they have instructions that guide their work. No matter who you are, once you misconduct yourself, you will have to be dealt with. Of course, we will have to make sure that we do due diligence with whatever the situation is, not necessarily to just go and incarcerate you, without any
find out from you on this point. This has been one problem that has been in the public domain for a while. When you happen to get yourself or have yourself involved in a problem with a military man on the street, you don't want to exchange words with him because you might receive some slaps. The public have actually, grown over the period some fear in them because you're dealing with a military person. You are afraid that if you go and talk about it, he will slap you. With that also niche on military men, how are you able to handle it and let the public know that the military men are equally your friends?
Yes, everybody is a friend, and the armed forces in particular, all of our soldiers, and of course, and the policemen, we are not here to fight people. Of course, if you are a criminal, we will fight you and then kill you if it becomes necessary to do so. But the point is that everybody is supposed to be a friend. And then we are here being paid and maintained, to make sure that we provide the civilian public and the rest of us, all the peace and safety that we require. And so it's not anybody who wakes up one morning and just goes to beat anybody. And so when we advise our soldiers, whenever they come into a confrontation with anybody, they have to be civil and they have to be tolerant. Tolerance is a very important thing with us. Because if you are not tolerant, of course, if I'm with you and you know that I'm in uniform and probably you know that I'm stronger than you, and then I'm not tolerant, what happens is that then I will deal with you. But then that is unlawful. And so even within our laws, offering violence to people, it's an affront. And therefore, we would like to encourage the civil public, not necessarily to start having arguments with soldiers. If anything happens, go report that soldier, to the appropriate authorities for the necessary actions to be taken. You don't take the law into your own hands. And the same thing we tell the soldiers, don't take the law into your own hands. And so some soldiers have done some things in the past like that, and we have had to punish them for it because it's necessary for us to do so. You recall there was a time a soldier, around a Kwabenya, decided to accost, a policewoman or a traffic warden. He had to be punished for it because there was absolutely no need for that action. And so we don't encourage soldiers to go out beating people on the streets. We don't encourage soldiers to go taking the law into their own hands. And we will certainly encourage the civil public not to take the law into their own hands to report any soldier who is conducting himself or does anything against them.
Right. We want to thank you so much for your time this morning, Colonel.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we've just spoken with the PRO of the Ghana Armed Forces, Colonel Mbawini Atintande. He also gave us, in his line of duty, what he expects his men to do and how they should render their services. So he was almost singing the same song as the police, as in your naming and shaming form of punishment to your men who misbehave. I want us to touch on that matters when it comes to the police. First of all, I want to do with mob justice. Mob justice. This has to do with the battle between the citizens and the police. How difficult has this issue been for the police in handling this?
Well, of late, I can say that the phenomenon has gone down a bit, but in the past, it used to be very rife. And that you take the law into your own hands if you suspect somebody to have committed an offense is wrong. Because in the first place, you don't have the power to administer justice. Because you might not be able to make out a commensurate punishment for any offense. You don't have that power. And then, for instance, if somebody stole a fowl and he was lynched to death, you ask yourself, is that the commensurate punishment for stealing a fowl? It isn't at all. And then, when you do so, sometimes some members of the ring might go underground. If, for instance, you chase armed robbers and you're able to get one of them, you manage to get one of them, and you lynch him, the rest go underground. And when they go underground,
it makes their work difficult for you.
Very, very difficult. When they come up, they operate in a more brutal way because they know that when they are also caught, they will be dealt in a similar way. And so it is not proper. And even sometimes innocent people are punished by mob or by the people for having committed an offense. Supposedly, but when in fact they were not the people who committed the offense. If you remember the instance that we had in Ghana some time ago, where some people touch you and they said the genital organs were missing. A lot of people were killed in this way. I mean, innocently. I mean, innocent people died by this means. And so when you you suspect somebody to have committed any offense, the first thing you do, if you are able to arrest him, you arrest him and you immediately hand him over to the police. I mean, the days when even police arrested people and even beat them are fast eroding. I mean, these days you don't, unless of course your attitude, your reaction demands that minimum force is brought to bear to ensure that you are arrested. The policeman will not touch you. So
what I wanted for you to come up with was that as the mob do not have that authority to let out justice, the police also do not have that right, do they? It is only the judicial. You are supposed to apprehend and then prosecute. And then the justice system delivers the justice.
Exactly.
So if we can make the public understand that even the police, with all the authority that they have, do not have that instant justice, authority, then the people might become more.
But I think, you see, sometimes they tend to believe that once you arrest the person and you send the person to the police, and the person even goes to court, that should be the end of it. Or even when the person goes to the police, that should be the end of it. He should be jailed. But you see, the suspects may also have their right to a bail. And you see, sometimes it's a matter of lack of education on the issue. For instance, if you arrested somebody and brought the person to me, for having committed any offense, you expected that the person will be kept in the police cells perpetually until the person is jailed. So if the next day you saw the person on the street, you believe that the police have let the person loose. In fact, and the suspect themselves go out to brag on the street, when you sent me to the police, what has happened? Meanwhile, the person is only enjoying his right to a bail. The substantive case is still pending, and eventually he might be incarcerated for it. But because of the misconception and lack of education on that one, yes, they tend to believe that, you have let the person loose. And so when they get the opportunity of arresting a suspect, they think that when we take the person to the police station, the police are going to let him out. And even the court also grant bail sometimes.
But I stand to be corrected. Has the police gotten a shoot to kill policy? Have you implemented any policy like that?
At all. There's nothing like a shoot to kill policy. We don't have. I don't know where the
word came from. Have you heard it before?
A lot.
You've heard it before?
Yes, I've heard it.
Shoot to kill for what? They are supposed to apprehend, disable the person, and then apprehend the person.
I think what has given caused this shoot to kill opinion, getting a number of uniform was difficult. Yeah, but these days, definitely we'll get one or two people definitely becoming, shabby and unkempt. But then, these days, even for various duties, we have various uniform that you can wear for various duties. And these days, at regular intervals, people's stock of uniform are replenished. So if you found a police officer who is shabbily dressed, very dirty, then that person must be taken on. And these are also exactly. If you can report the person. And
I'm seeing your tag,
Alpha.
Yes. And then what else can I use to identify you?
The most effective form of identification is the number. This one. So because the Alpha, for instance, if you try to identify me by the actor, we have about 101 actors in the police service. That's why we're going by this. So my number as a service officer is 2577. And that is unique. Nobody also bears the same number apart from me.
So this information is quite vital. You may not feel being treated fairly by a police officer. You don't want to engage yourself in any form of public brawl with a policeman. Don't try it. Just look out for his identification number. And DSP's own is 2577. So if you find him on the street, and you will never do that, you never find him on the street anyway. You can only find him in the studio here. So if you find him on the street, look out for his number. There's this silver looking, what do you call it?
Badge. We call it badge.
You call it a badge.
Yes.
Okay, so
badge
there's
of authority.
All right. So everybody's own is in silver.
Yes, everybody's
All right.
own. From IGP to the last constable.
That brings me to the question: how you find out if the policeman is fake? How do you know?
Wow, a lot of things. You see how I'm dressed in my headgear.
I'm actually looking out for every single detail.
If you saw the headgear like this, or even like this, with the crown
At the back.
it's a sign to show that the policeman is not a policeman or the security officer. And your some of these things they are not things that we can even but then your crown must be in line with your left eye. Yes.
Wow.
And these are all things that you can
Such
look up for if you
details.
knew. And then some people even dress without their lanyard. When you see a
That is called
policeman,
lanyard.
yes, if you see a policeman dressed without a lanyard, it will give you a cause for suspicion. If you saw a policeman without a rank, for instance, there are people without, visible rank, but they have rank, like constables. They don't have any whatever sign or symbol, but they have this thing. If you see a policeman not properly dressed, there are some of the uniform that must be taken, and there are others that must be yes. And if this one, for instance, you see a policeman who has tacked in this type of uniform in, it should give you a cause for suspicion. There are a lot of things that the public might not know and use them as a yardstick to measure the.
Because of security reasons, this information, are they?
No, I don't think it's not everything that is so esoteric. Okay. We shall be breaking some of these jinx.
Okay. Is the policeman right to take the uniform, a police uniform, from an ordinary citizen who's just walking around with a uniform on? Like you are going out and you find somebody who is just wearing the police uniform just like
I have
that.
to arrest the person.
Can you have to arrest the person?
I have to arrest. Once the person is not a police officer,
You're not supposed
he
to
becomes
do
an imposter, and what he's doing is criminal, because with that power that he has put on himself, he can commit crimes in the name of the police.
So let me try and see if I actually got this. This is line what? What did you say?
Line yard.
The line yard.
With my whistle at the end of it.
Your whistle?
Yes.
Oh, that's a whistle linked.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love the demonstration.
Even the way we blow our whistle alone.
I'm not going to have pockets.
Why?
Why? You're not going to have pockets on them. And you know why now.
I don't know. It's get to do with the price of this thing.
Let me be glad. So one Ghana cities have been police officer. So now, I don't know if it's a joke, but the joke is that
if anybody wanted to be criminal or unprofessional and take money, you can still take money even without wearing uniform at all.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. DSP Cephas Arthur is a deputy superintendent, also the PRO of the Ghana Police Service. Mr. John Sterling is also regular host of, guest on Tuesdays. My name is Annie Apopo. Thank you so much for watching. We're back tomorrow morning with some more education on child abuse. We want to meet some people to talk about it. Thank you for your time. Good morning.